Hi, this is Jeff Wortham. I am a landscape architect with a passion for plant design. And so what I'm going to do is do a small series of videos, see how this goes. But this is the introductory video on how to design with plants. And this is my favorite part of what I do every day. I've been a landscape architect for 30 years now. And plant design is definitely my favorite part. It's the most creative, and really, at the end of the day, it's the part that's most memorable in terms of what we take away from our experience in and with a landscape. And done right, it can just really magnify the experience for people in and around landscaping. So you're going to see some photos here of various plant design styles. Some of these are mine, some of these are from different parts of the world actually. And why I'm showing this variety of photos is just to impress upon you how many different feelings, looks, styles there are out there in terms of plant design. And so what I'm going to cover is our framework for how we create a plant design, irrespective of who it is we're designing for or what it is we're trying to achieve. There's a basic framework for that, and I thought it'd be helpful to show people that and give some examples and walk you through that. So that's what we're going to do. So the way we start each project is we define the problems to solve and the experiences and outcomes that we want. So what I mean by that is we first define things such as screening an ugly house in the back with a tall fence that's of two different colors like you see here. And we solve the problems first, then we go into creating the beautiful side. So if you see here, you'll see on the left they have these plum trees that are hiding the roof of another house, and on the right you don't have that. So I'm just using that as an example of part of this problem's already been solved by one of the neighbors, and that's what we would want to do. Here are a couple of examples of plants that would solve the problem. See how these evergreen trees, they're not too big. They could be used for that. And then this is Prunus carolinea compacta. This could be used as a vertical screen along that fence line. In this design, this red maple was used as a focal point, but first of all, the plants in the back screen the fence, and they also provide what I call green balance for the pool wall. Before that pool wall went in, this looked out of balance because there was so much mass to the stone wall. As attractive as it is, it's way more attractive when it has that counterbalance of a lot of greenery around it. In this next example, we have a seaside planting. So this designer is dealing with a lot of environmental things, challenges. And see how they used a plant that moves in the wind that could otherwise be seen as a real problem. And I think aesthetically that was a beautiful solution here. And you can see the yellow Coleonema sunset gold down there in the foreground, kind of working off of these bronzy tips that are on this chondropetalum. It's a very elegant solution of solving problems while providing a lovely aesthetic at the same time. Next thing we do is look for examples and inspiration. So my favorite go-to is houzz.com, HOUZZ.com, and a lot of clients like Pinterest as well. And if you really want to get specialized, go on Amazon and research books that have a particular style if you know what you're really after. Sometimes you can find a book such as Grasses that will go deep on your particular style that you're after. Houzz is what I use. Look, you're going to find the best designers in the world posting their favorite work up there. So I don't know how you get better inspiration than that. And I certainly post a lot of my best work there. So that to me is a great place to start to get inspired and see how other professional designers are solving problems that you're certainly going to encounter. And secondly, it's inspiration. There's no point in trying to recreate the wheel on every aspect of a new design. Look to the people who do it all the time, and you're going to find better answers faster, in my opinion. Now that you know what look you're after, it's time to find the actual plants to compose with that will give you that look. So there are a couple of resources. What you're looking at here are photos off of out of our library. These are for sale, by the way, so if you're interested, contact us through our offices. And this is off of our website. These are actually posted in the website for public use. This is at jeffwortham.com and under plant design and then photos. And there are lots and lots of photos, but secondly and more importantly is to research the plants and understand their maintenance, their climate needs, and all of the other things that and size. Size is the single biggest thing that people, designers, professionals, and otherwise screw up. And then when the plant gets too big or it's too small, but usually it's too big, it outgrows the space and it gets hacked up because it was never the right plant for that place. So find out whether these plants are the right ones before you purchase them on impulse at the nursery. That's a lot of what I think separates the really good designers from those who just design. And then once you understand that those plants are going to work for you, now it's a matter of also looking at combinations. I love looking at combos. There's entire books that you can buy on plant combinations. And here are some photos. And then to me, if you find combos like this is Coleonema Sunset Gold and Mexican Sage, and those two colors together are just stunning. The other thing you'll find is that they've worked out the climate needs, the sun needs, and watering needs, and so much of that's been worked out when you see great combos in the landscape. So I'd say those things are golden from a perspective of figuring out plant design ideas, is look at combos that other people have put together that you really like. And then even if that plant is not a great one for you, see this silver foliage? Now look at this silvery blue foliage. If you say, well, I don't really like silvery grasses, they look wiry to me, then use lamb's ears or something like that to still get the same combo in terms of the parts that you like. So that is plant selection. Again, please research your plants. That's what Mr. Jeff Wortham and Design with Plants YouTube channels are all about. Those are resources to help share information about plants so people can make better plant choices. And it's entirely why I've created hundreds of videos, is to help support you in that. There are other resources online, really good websites. Monrovia tends to have good information about plants. San Marcos Growers, the thumbnail you saw earlier, and many others. So please research your plants and you'll end up with a long-term design that you'll be much happier with. This is the most critical part of the entire process, is pick the right working building blocks for a good design, and then you have a much higher prospect of ending up with a design that you love that actually lasts for you. Our final step is plant design. So we start with conceptual bubble design, and we're looking at what views do we want to create and what problems do we want to solve. So as I noted earlier, one of the big things to solve is screening this house behind the pool, and also the fence line. So what I do is I make notes in a bubble form. As you can see here, I'm saying screen 12 to 18 feet high, and also looking at my views. Over here I want to screen the fence and the retaining wall, and that's the primary objective in that area. So you see the notes that I made. Also now the conceptual plan is there, so I'm saying I also want to create some nice views for planting in that chunk. And here I want to screen the neighbor and the solar panels, and I'm going to make notes in my bubble diagram as to the size and the location of those solutions. So that's the problem solving part of the equation. So now I'm going to create what I call my plant vignettes, or mini palettes. And so for each area that I'm solving or creating something to look at, I'm starting to create a mini plant list for that solution before I ever get into actual design. So Here I've got I want a focal point tree that doesn't get too big behind this wall, and I'm looking at crepe myrtle or red maple, and then I don't want to hide the wall, so I'm looking for lower plants to go in front of the wall, and that's what that list reflects. Now, one of the things I like to do is little sketch studies to help me see this in the 3 dimensions. So to look at creating this vignette around this fountain in this particular case. So I'm looking at where to put the main plants and how to accentuate that. Before I start selecting plants, I'm really just looking at size and layout. And here it is in plan view. I'm starting to look at placement and what types of plants. This is the plan view of the same thing you just saw. And here I am, there's that plant, and I'm using a Formium Platts Black. So the size is right and the location. So I'm doing a combination of making sure I understand in 3 dimensions where and what size things I want, and then I get into the actual selection of the plant. So here I am back, there's my sketch, and I'm looking at sizes and approximate location, and now I'll go back in plan view and actually select those plants. So that's our main process for selecting the plants before we turn it into what you see here, which is now we'll drop it into CAD and turn it into a refined planting plan. That is our design process for plant design, and I know it seems lengthy, but if you want to end up with results like these and something that's going to last a long time and give you interest throughout the year and really support your overall landscape design, for us, that's the process I've created over 30 years. It really works, and yes, it's a little drawn out, but I think the results make it very worthwhile. And regardless of the style, that process should get you to a great end result. You just have to be willing to spend a little time in the right places. And but look at this, you can just end up with lovely, lovely end game if you spend the time. So I hope that helps. Please give us a like or a comment on what you think of this video. I'm going to use that as kind of a guide as to what level to go to next and which areas to focus on with more videos. So if you can do that for me, that would be great. Enjoy.